Dámela.
Where's your badge?
ID? ID? ID?
Where's your ID?
ID?
You're gonna get charged.
ID?
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12 and verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Shalom, shalom, Akim. Before I begin, I'm going to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Kakodash. Alright, double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. Alright, I'm the brother Gabar Allah, coming at you with another lesson. Alright, and this lesson is going to be based off this video you see here. That is on this dude who's pretty much getting detained by ICE. Okay, which he looks like he's a Jake from the Northern Kingdom, specifically Issachar. But they pretty much went into this Ontario hospital, the city of Ontario. Okay, now Ontario is, it is far from where I am, but in terms of like driving distance, it's about, I would say, with no traffic, it's about 40 minutes with no traffic. Obviously, Los Angeles has a lot of traffic, so typically it's around an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how bad it can get. But without traffic, I'll say it's about 40 minutes from here. Now, or from where I live. So ICE is, or this whole situation is really affecting you Israelites. Okay, and the primary reason is because you keep on trusting on your oppressors. Okay, on your oppressors being Esau. You keep on going to their clinics. You keep on going to their this, and that, and the third. Now, these are certain things they have to use wisdom in. Okay. You have to understand that Esau's medicine, Esau's technology is not, the best for you. Okay, ultimately, the cures are in herbs. Now, that doesn't mean that, you can't take a Tylenol pill or some over-the-counter medicine or, some medicine. But in terms of, going to a clinic and, getting shots and, you don't know what's in those shots. Okay, you don't know what's in those shots. You don't know what they could be putting in you. Okay, and on top of that, with everything going on, they're snatching you up in hospitals now. You can't even go to hospitals. So, again, this is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12. And I'm going to start at verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Right? And Esau is your enemy. Okay? It says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. Right? You have to still beware of him, because he's going to give you sweet words. He's going to say that they can help you. They're going to say they can help you and, just come to the clinic, this, that, and the third. But, the moment shit turns left, they're going to leave your ass there. All right, it says, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. So you're going to know, that dude, that Jake just knew. He's like, oh, shit, why did I trust in this? Why did I come here? He's regretting his decisions right now. But if he had used wisdom, he would have said, okay, the times that we're in, ICE is going everywhere. Okay, let me stay my ass home, because it's coming up that they're starting to delete your whole database off your they're starting to delete your whole You, like, as a person, you know. It says, verse 12, set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith. Okay, and that's exactly what's happening with Jake. All right, Jake is being pricked right now, you know, because they keep trusting with their oppressors. Okay, you know, like I keep mentioning, it is bad, but you can't really feel for Jake because we have given them the warning and they don't take heed. You know, and ultimately, you know, you still feel bad for your people, you know, somewhere deep down. But at the same time, you're like, look, you should have fucking listened, you know. But this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 31 and verse 1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses, and trust in chariots, because they are many. Right? Woe means death and destruction. So really, especially in these times, you shouldn't really be going into these clinics, okay, into these things. Okay, because first of all, ice is out. Second of all, you don't know what they're putting in your things. You know, you don't know what's their plan for you. You don't know what's going on. It says, and in horsemen, because they are very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither they seek the Lord Yahweh. All right, they don't seek upon the Heavenly Father. You know, they'd rather do their own thing. You know, they'd rather go down to Egypt for help. They don't care about the Lord. So the Lord's like, all right, you want to trust in your oppressors, you know, oh well. Okay, so this is the book of Isaiah again, chapter 30. I'm going to jump down to verse 10. Or, I'm going to jump down to for the sake of time, verse 9. Or actually, verse 8. Now go, write it before them in a table, and note it in a book, that it may be for their time to come forever and ever. Verse 9. That this is a rebellious people, lying children that will not hear the law of the Lord Yahweh. And Esau, and Jake, all right, is not hearing the law of the Heavenly Father and the only begotten Son. You know, you're not taking heed unto these words of the Heavenly Father. You're not using wisdom. Okay? You have to understand that while it is messed up, you have no control over this dude right now. Okay? Now, you know, the brothers was going into it in camp. You know, brothers gonna go down fighting, right? But you know, they're snatching people up. You know, there was a father who had his whole family snatched up, and he didn't do anything. You know, he didn't do anything. He was just there helpless. He didn't do shit. You know that. But ultimately, it's all through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Right? These things are happening because Jacob did not want to listen, and Jacob was a rebellious people. It says, verse 10, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophecy deceits. Right? They don't want to hear these prophecies. They don't want to hear that the Lord is coming down with great wrath. They don't want to hear that you can't eat your so-called delicacy foods. Right? You can't eat fucking pork ribs with barbecue on it. Right? You can't eat that. You can't eat your shrimp cocktails anymore. You can't eat your damn prawns. You know, you can't eat your lobster tails. You can't eat these shit. But they want to eat it. They want to be rebellious. Okay, well, the Lord has this for you. Verse 11, get you out of the way, turn aside out of the path, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. Wherefore, thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because ye despise this word, and trust in oppression, and preservedness, and stay thereon. So because you're trusting in these people, you're trusting in your oppression. Verse 13, therefore this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly and at an instant. All right, and that's exactly what the Lord is bringing to you. Okay, let me see if I can get that in a different translation. All right, Book of Isaiah, chapter 30, and I'm gonna get verse 12. This is the reply of the Holy One of Israel. Because you despise what I tell you and trust instead in the oppression and lies, calamity will come upon you suddenly like a bulging wall that bursts and falls in an instant. It will collapse and come down crashing. You will be smashed like a piece of pottery, shattered so completely that there won't be a piece big enough to carry coals from a fireplace or a little water from the well. Right. And what can you do to prevent this? Read on down. Verse 15. This is what the sovereign Lord Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel, says. Only in returning to me and resting in me will you be saved. In quietness and confidence is your strength, but you would have none of it. And our people don't have any of it. Okay, our people are foolish. Our people are sottish children. You're dumb. You don't trust in the Holy One of Israel. All right. And it sucks to say it, but sometimes you just got to say it how it is, man. You just got to say it how it is. And our people are some of the most foolish on earth, man. So, anyways, that's pretty much the lesson, man. I didn't want to make it too long, but Lord willing was edifying, Lord willing was uplifting. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the elders.